How's it going? Alright, so it's gonna be video again. I'm making it for myself. Hopefully somebody is gonna get benefit from this, but it's gonna be probably very confusing. But like this starting code and all this mumbo jumbo for autocomplete, you can get it off the Material UI Autocomplete. So all of this stuff in here is from Material UI Autocomplete copy and paste component. There's like a basic one, and that's where I copy and pasted this stuff from. Okay, so what does this thing do, and why do we need it? Well, let me just get to the bottom line. If this function returns false, return false, you will get yellow warnings like this. You will see in here we're gonna have a lot of yellow warnings. You see? Cannot find, there's no option to match this value. Now, it's not the end of the world. Your app is still going to work, but the reason why it's happening is because it's kind of like a safety check to let you know that the option that the user selected does not match the option. It's confusing, I understand, but just fundamentally think about it as a function that controls to display this message or not. If you display false, if the function returns false, the message will be displayed. If the function returns true, the message will not be displayed. And that's it. So fundamentally, all it does is controls whether to display or not this mumbo jumbo message. Now you see there is no message at all. You see? Now the problem we select, the problem you will see straight away, although message is not being selected, it is mapping. You can see the drop down, all of it is being selected because every single one of them is true. No matter which one do you select, it's always going to be true. Okay? So fundamentally what this does is, well, let's go to the next phase. So this function has two arguments, which is option and value. Okay? So I'm going to uncomment this, and I'm going to just return true for now. So we're not going to get any messages. Okay, so let me just clear this real quick. Text field drop down. Okay, we don't need to see this, so let me just console this out. It's not something that is related to this video, so my apologies for having it there. Okay, so now look. When you are selecting something, it has two arguments. Options and then value. So option is, well, let me do it slightly differently. It's gonna get confusing because I selected option. My apologies. Okay. Shit. How to show it to you? Maybe if I type something. No. Okay. Anyway. Okay, so think about it this way. Option is coming from here. So every time you click on the filter, it will run through every single option in the array. Every single option. So let's say you select this. You see, all of them show up multiple times. That's because what it's going to do, it's going to run, it's going to, think about it like it's going to map through every single option. Every single option. So it's mapping for you automatically. Okay? The second thing it looks at, the second argument it has, is value. So value is whatever is being typed. Okay? So if you type something, well, there is no free, but bottom line, value is going to be whatever is selected. Okay? The worst explainer ever, it's just that, like, I already understand this shit so well, it's very hard for me to explain it through... Probably should have made this video 3 hours ago. So, when I was learning, right? But bottom line, okay, think about it this way. Option is whatever is coming from options, which is in here. Which is this array in here. When you type something into the value, when you pick something in the value, it will come in as a value. Okay? So what's going to happen, you're gonna have iteration happen. So how many options in here? 1, 2, 3. Well, how many items are in the array? So there are 7 items in this array. Okay? So what's going to happen? It's going to run options and value 7 times. If this thing here, if there are, I don't know, 20 items, it's going to run options and value 20 times. Do you understand? So why do you need this shit? Is because, again, remember, this function controls whether to display or not to display this warning message. So in order to get rid of this warning message, you need to return true. But if you want to hack it and just return true, is not going to work, because for this reason you will have every single option highlighted. Alright? So we need to map it somehow. And the way to do that is, remember, if it returns true, the message is not shown. If it returns false, the message is shown. So we want to see if every option is equal to value. Okay? So look, we have option, label, and option value. Shit, I know where you're gonna get confused. Okay, let me just think about it. How to explain it. It's basically a compare function, to be honest with you, like when you think about it. It runs every single option and then it compares it to the value. If the value is found in the options, it does not display the warning. I don't know, I can picture it in my head, but it's very hard for me to explain it. Okay, let's do it this way. Think about it this way. It's going to run through this array here, and it's going to run a include value. If that value is found in any one of them, it will not display the message, and that's it. That's about it, okay? So we can say, okay, so the easiest way to do it would be return. Let me just remove all this mumbo jumbo in here. Return option label, because you have to remember that we are comparing label. Is it equal to, well, let me do it differently. If option.value equals to, oh shite, this is label. label equals to value.label, then return true, and then return false. Okay, so now we will not get any yellow messages, because we know that every value that you could possibly select is always found in the options array. Does that make sense? So I select this one. We 100% know that the value that we selected, which is this one here, is 100% found in the options label, because it exists in here. Now we're mapping for label, of course. So every single option label that you can pick will always be present in here. So now we run into a problem where we, let's say, create filter options, and we have a completely separate... I know it's not part of this video, god damn it. I made a video before this one explaining how filter options work. I'll link it in the description below so you can understand. But fundamentally, we're gonna type 1, and we're gonna have an option appearing that is not part of this array. And you'll see that the warning is going to appear. So we're gonna type 1, hidden appears, we click, boom, yellow warning. Why? Because hidden is not part of this. So remember, it runs include function. It looks at hidden and says, is hidden found anywhere in here? No. So it says yellow warning, hidden is not found in the original options. So how do we handle this? So we can say, okay, we selected this, and this is going to become value, because this is what, remember, value is what's being selected, options is what original. Well, let me just change this mumbo jumbo so you don't get confused, okay? Original options array. There you go. So this is original options array, which is this thing here. And then this is selected drop down value. So whatever the hell you select from the drop down will be this thing here. So then you don't get confused. Alright? So now, what happened? What happened now is that selected drop-down value is hidden, but in the original option array, oh man, this is so much easier to explain. So original option array does not possess hidden label. So how do we handle it? Right? We can just say, remember that this function works. If it returns true, display the message. If it returns false, do not display the message. So we come to this edge case in our programming app, and we're like, okay, so what are we going to do with it? We are aware of the small bug, which is that the original array option does not have hidden. We can do it two ways. We can either probably add it on the back end, or we can just manually do it on the front end. Because a lot of the times, I know, like in here, you have your data in front of you. Obviously, you can just put the hidden into it manually. But unfortunately, a lot of the times, this data is going to be coming from API, and you do not have control over it, right? So what you can do is you can just say, okay, if selected drop-down value label equals to hidden, return true. And then we probably want to write docs or some comment in here. Edge case for hidden option. Or like you can write your docs on the top. You can write your docs in here, comments in here. Up to you. It's completely up to yourself. So now we will see that this thing is not going to give us the yellow warnings anymore. So we're selecting, everything's fine. Now we do our hidden value. Boom, no more yellow warnings. Because we have handled that condition. So the only purpose of this function is really to show you, to notify you that the option, selected option from the drop-down does not exist in the original option array in here. And that's about it. Like, I don't know why Material UI has it. I don't know why it's important, because the app still works without it. But, I mean, if you want to handle this yellow error, that's how you do it. It's one way. The other way to do it is obviously just to remove this and then just do free solo. So in free solo, the text, they can put anything into the text and it's not going to complain. The only problem with doing that is you will not have this drop down icon in here. So you see, like, you can just do whatever the hell you want, and you see you can even select options that just don't exist. And it doesn't complain. But you see you don't have this little drop down in here because it's now basically a straight up text field. Alternatively, you need to do this way. So you can kind of like play around with it in any shape or form. If you have, let's say, I don't know, filter options right now are returning. But bottom line, you can, like, fundamentally this function is very simple. If it returns true, no yellow message is displayed. If it returns false, yellow message is displayed. Okay? So if you have some kind of weird filter options in here, you can just map them. Because filter options is gonna be what is being selected. And then you can just map it, like, in here. See what I'm saying? For example, if they, I don't know, select one. Let's just do this. Okay, let's just do this. Look, label 1. Now, none of this stuff is in original. So 1 is not in the original options array. So what are we gonna get? We're gonna get a warning letter, and it's not handled in here, so it's not one of the conditions. So we obviously going to get the yellow warning immediately, right? We select 1, boom, yellow warning. So what do? We go and we handle it. If selected drop down label equals to 1, again, return true, and then that's it. And we probably want to leave a comment. Well, honestly, it's kind of self-explanatory, but edge case for 1 option. So now we get no errors, you see? And that's it. You see? See what I mean? So this is gonna be hidden. This is gonna be if state input value equals 1. So if somebody types 1, we're gonna return label 1. And we already have this handled in here, so it's not going to complain. So we can auto select. So this is in line with original options array selected value, because that's where the feed is coming from, the original options array. But if we type something like 1, now the feed is coming from filter options from here. Because you see, state input, state contains input value, which is whatever you type into the dropdown. And we typed 1, so now it returns this here. This is a new dropdown option. So we type 1, we select, no yellow warning. But again, you see we get this mumbo jumbo. Because 1 is not there. So if we type 1, we should get this. Okay. Now if we type hidden, we should get this. Yeah, but we don't get yellow warnings. But it still gets this, but it still does all this stuff here. Oh my god. I think free solo is like the best handler. So now it's, you see now it thinks that hidden, it maps to all of this, all of them, but it doesn't, you see. Oh, wait a sec. So if I will to say Pulp Fiction, it's going to highlight. Oh, I see. Okay, so there is a second. I think there is a second use for this. So if it's equal to and original options array dot label equals whoopsie. So now what's going to happen? It will probably highlight 1 for Pulp Fiction, if I'm not mistaken, right? So if we type 1 and we select drop, yeah. Okay. I understand what you're saying. So it's mapping to see what the input typed is going to be relative to the original array. Okay. Yeah. That makes sense. So if we type hidden, we can maybe map it to the Dark Knight. Because if you return true, it will think that all of them are 1. But if we map it to something separate, let's say Dark Knight, the Dark Knight, let's just do this. Okay, so it has 2 functions. One is show or not show the yellow message, and 2 is highlight which option your input represents. Your input represents, basically. That's about it. So if it's hidden and original options array dot label equals the Dark Knight. Okay, so now hidden is going to be mapped to the Dark Knight, I believe. And 1 is going to be, okay, so if we do hidden, drop down appears, we click the Dark Knight. Excellent. Yeah, okay. So that makes sense now. Alright, so that's about it. So again, this function is controlled. If it's true, it does 2 things. It does not show the yellow label, and it will select which one from the drop down should be highlighted. And if it's false, it's going to show the yellow label. And that's about it. The reason why you cannot go return true is because all of them are going to be selected. So if you just do this, again, return true, you will see that just all of them are going to be selected. And you don't want that. So yeah, because you see because it thinks now that the Godfather maps to every single one of them, because the equality check has been passed for every single one of them. So we need to kind of handle it conditionally. Yeah, I understand what it does. So fundamentally, we can think about this function as a controller for which option to highlight when you drop down. And of course, show you the yellow message. And that's about it. Oh, okay, take care, bye-bye.